Of problems by the sound of it.
You what, sorry?
There's a morning of problems by the look of it. Jonathan can't get a picture. John can't get sound.
Right, look. Always start. Yeah.
Right.
There you are.
Ah, my assistant has got me on my face.
She's not your assistant, she's your manager. Just remember that.
Yes, the bollocker in person. Yes.
Bollocker in chief, BIC.
Yes, that's right.
Morning, all.
Morning.
Morning, Doug. Oh, we're flooding in now.
You got
No.
a cold, Keith?
I have.
Oh dear.
I've taken a couple of tests and they've both been negative. So
Now take a wee dram. That'll sort you
Yes,
out.
I think so.
My wife's been the same, Keith. She's had a cold for a week, so we done a couple of tests and they're both negative.
yeah,
Good.
When I was at Boscombe Down in Salisbury, the officers' mess, my wife and I were part of the members who did Christmas dinner for the staff, and she was coming down with a streaming cold. So one of the lads said, "Oh, I'll make her a hot toddy." And we made 2 or 3 hot toddies. We were going up to Scotland the following day. I think she sang all the way. As they say in Glasgow, who was a puggy? We sorted her cold out. Oh dear. Great days. That was a great tradition in the mess. Christmas dinner served to the mess staff by their members,
Yeah, I'm sure.
taking over the kitchen for the day.
yeah. I'm just hoping I'm going to be all right for the Christmas dinner at Wayne tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow, is it?
Yeah,
Well, good luck with that. Enjoy.
yeah, and see what happens. Are you going to eat, Chris?
What's that, Keith?
The Senior Blades
No, no.
Christmas dinner? No.
I don't attend things, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great shame, but no.
Excuse me a moment.
So far, the 12 people have said that they'll go to the lunch next Wednesday.
12.
12 so far. There's a handful that haven't responded yet, but there would be at least 12 of us.
Good.
Yeah,
Have you got the people who go on a Wednesday, John?
Some of them, I'll catch the rest tomorrow at the meeting. Some of them from Wednesday have responded. So 12 of us so far.
yeah. I'll probably be comfortable at about 16, but more than that, then it's going to get a bit full.
But would you be comfortable with 12? Would you think 12's enough?
12's enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 12's enough, but what I'm saying is for the space that
Well,
we
yeah, I appreciate what you're saying. We've got to limit it for safety purposes.
yeah. Right. Okay, I think we're probably all about here. So, John, have you got any news of anyone in the group?
Not really. No, nothing significant.
Right.
Any news about Paul?
Nothing new, I'm afraid. What about Chris? Have we got any?
I don't think, even if we could, I don't think they'd let us visit it just at the moment anyway, would they?
No.
No,
They'll
probably
they'll- no. They'll probably not let Ed across tomorrow either.
No.
yeah, wouldn't be surprised. So, Chris, have you got any news of films?
I've got a bit. If you would like it, Keith, got a bit.
Yeah,
I saw two terrible films last night,
Go on then.
or one and a bit. It was on Netflix. They were both Christmas films. Big mistake. And one was, one was trying to be like Richard Curtis. It was about the blonde from Game of Thrones. I forget what they call her now.
Oh yeah.
She was meant to be not exactly an elf, but playing an elf in a shop. And it was very Richard Curtis-y, with about a tenth of the charisma. So written by Emma Thompson,
Yeah.
just didn't work. And then another one with Kelsey Grammer in it that was a bit better, but so full of cliches. It was cliche city. It was really bad. Terrible. I mean, passed up on the first one. We got the second one was called Father Christmas is Back or something like that. The name of the family was Christmas, and Kelsey Grammer was the father who deserted the family years ago, but he came back. It's Father Christmas is Back or something like that, or Returns, or who cares?
The lady played Daenerys Targaryen.
Daenerys, yeah.
And a name as I mean, it's ridiculous. Yeah. They didn't get very good write-ups when it came out. I think it was very quick after Game of Thrones finished, and it probably suffered a bit because there was a bit of a reaction. So, but the other one with Kelsey Grammer, I'd watch because Kelsey Grammer's in it.
Yeah, he was all right. Some of the people were all right.
Yeah.
It was just the plot and some of the
If you
acting.
like Richard Curtis,
Yeah.
if you like Richard Curtis, I haven't seen it, but my son says, look at the film Yesterday.
Oh, excellent.
It's about a guy who gets knocked out, wakes up, and finds out that the Beatles have never existed, but he knows all their songs.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah,
I've seen that.
It's very good.
it's good.
I've seen it about 3 times, Ron. It's a terrific film. If you like the Beatles, it's terrific. If you don't, it's good.
Dave's trying to get in.
Yeah, just to say to Chris, he recommended a film the other week, Missile from the East.
Oh yeah,
which I watched. I thought it was superb.
I missed it. Having highlighted it,
Yeah.
I missed it. It was good, was it?
It was very, very good. Yeah, it was sort of more of a documentary type film.
Yeah,
pieced together.
yeah,
But the story behind it, you were defecting to the West.
yeah,
And
yeah.
what it cost him.
Yeah.
It was superb, and I would recommend if that comes on again. That's
Thank you.
Missile from the East.
Yeah, thank you for the feedback, because I actually missed it.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Thank you. Emily Clark, John.
Right.
Emily Clark was Daenerys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I recorded and watched
Jenny says
story,
Amelia.
Chris.
Amelia. All right, Amelia
Clark.
Clark. Okay, yes, I stand corrected. I only watched 73 episodes 4 times, so I had a senior moment. I just couldn't remember her name. So thank you for the correction.
Yeah. Who are you again?
Chris.
I wonder which episodes you watch most.
This is a family event, so I couldn't possibly share that on record.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay.
I watched Frankie Dettori. Well, I recorded it.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did actually watch that one. Yes.
His dad was a real sod, wasn't he?
Ooh.
Nasty
Ooh.
piece of work.
It would
wouldn't be
appear- it
allowed
would
in
appear
today's
No,
politically correct society.
no, it wouldn't, John. Ian. No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but it was I thought a pretty honest documentary. I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good, well worth
It was.
viewing. Oh, I'm
Who was his
glad.
dad? Who was his dad? Verstappen.
Mr. Tory. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good jockey in his own right in Italy, but he really dragooned Frankie into being a jockey, and no quarter given or asked, basically.
No praise.
Do any of you-
No.
Have any of you into reading books, biographies in particular?
Yeah.
Occasionally.
For my birthday present, I received the biography of a lady I love because of her sense of humor, Miriam Margolyes.
Yeah.
That-
Just listen to it on audiobooks, Ian.
It's an interesting read, isn't it? She's
Very, very.
quite, and you always thought she was intelligent. She's a Cambridge
Yeah.
graduate,
Yeah.
although she's born and bred in Oxford. Fabulous read. If you get a chance, do get it.
Yeah.
As a
You want to try listening to her reading her own book, Ian? It's fascinating. Potty mouth doesn't describe it. Yeah.
She's in my mind, and you think this is weird, but she is a female Peter Ustinov, somebody you could always listen to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, great storyteller. Yeah.
Or a Stephen Fry, because he apparently
Yes.
likes swearing a lot. Yeah.
I like Stephen Fry. I think there are some people like me worth listening to, aren't there?
Yeah. I'd listen to your audiobook.
I worked on that. It was a slow build up, but I got there.
Yeah.
They're equally as modest as well.
Yes.
Sorry?
Yes. Equally modest.
Modest.
Right. Dave the Beard's not with us again this week.
I have got some stuff on films.
Yes.
Oh,
sorry.
Oh yeah, we got distracted.
This is like news of the week. You eventually get back
Yeah.
to I'll be brief, Keith. I'll be very brief.
Oh, no,
Have a
no.
lie down, Keith. Have a lie down.
Whose line is it
Take as long
anyway?
as you want.
Sorry. Straighten up a bit. Hang on. Right. I'll stop it. Right. Wednesday, tomorrow. There are two things that I've found that might be vaguely interesting. One is on Sky Documentaries, channel 121. It's on at 10 to 11 at night. It's called Next Goal Wins. A film in two. Sorry.
No, that just reminded me of a conversation I had with Keith
Oh, right.
yesterday. We can perhaps get onto after this.
Right. Yes.
Dylan next goal wins.
Yeah.
What you say, John, will be far more interesting than what I've got to say here.
No,
But this film came out in 2014. It's a film. It's a sort of film documentary about the world's worst performing football team.
Sheffield United.
I'll leave it out there.
In that Fort William.
I'll leave it out there because I actually don't know what that team is. I really don't. But
I think it's Fort William. They went 4 years without a win
yeah, I've been down that route.
in the Highland League.
Well, it might be worth a look at the opening credits, if nothing else. The same day, tomorrow, Wednesday, it's on at 20 to 11 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night. It's called The Champion of Auschwitz, made in 2020. It's a film it's a true story about a Polish prisoner of war who was a brilliant boxer. And it's the true story of his life at Auschwitz in that particularly nasty period of world history. I've not seen the film, but it could well be a very interesting thing. I like true stories or stories based on the truth, so it might, I'll have a look at it myself.
What channel was it, Chris?
It's on, I beg your pardon, thank you for the prompt. It's on Sky Premiere, which is channel 301. So it's a Sky channel, Sky Premiere. On Thursday this week, on Sky Documentaries again, seems to be a good source of programme. It's a channel 121. It's at 1 a.m.
Oh,
So this is probably one of those that you hit the old record on. At 1 a.m. It's called Forbidden Games, made in 2017, and it is in fact the life story of Justin Fashanu.
Wow.
His life and his death, and what happened afterwards. So it's not the most uplifting probably film to put in front of you, but that's all I can really find. That obviously the schedules are heavily towards the season.
And it's Justin Fashanu, not John Fashanu. Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't watch
recommend.
John Fashanu.
No, unfortunately, I believe he is interviewed in it a few
Oh,
times.
dear.
But you'll have to just park that next to the truth of what happened to his brother
Yeah.
and how John Fashanu completely distanced himself from his own brother.
Not surprised.
There we go. That's all I can find. There aren't a lot of feature films that are sport related, so I think you've got to dip into the old DVD files or whatever else you look at on YouTube.
Yeah.
There they are, guys. There they are.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Right.
I might even watch one of them for a change, as opposed to saying what they are and then not seeing it. But there you go.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As I mentioned earlier, Dave the Beard can't be with us. His son's physiotherapy session was meant to be yesterday, and they didn't turn up, and they're turning up this morning, so he can't. But good old Dave, he has sent me the news of the week.
Is his son still doing okay, Keith?
He's improving gradually.
Good.
You know, it's
Time.
positive news from that side of things.
Good.
Right, cricket. We'll start with cricket.
No, I don't.
Do we have to?
It's straight in this week, the first Ashes test. A couple of discussion points. Should Root have put the Aussies into bat first? And should Broad and or Anderson be in the team? What do you think?
Well, Broad and Anderson are in the team for tomorrow, evidently.
Right.
They clearly weren't ready or fit.
As to the first one, I'm not sure. As to the second one, definitely one of them should have played.
Yeah.
Michael Atherton thought it was a mistake to bat first, and I'll go with it.
Yeah, I thought they should have batted first.
I mean, it's common. It was common sense, really, wasn't it, Paul? I mean, you haven't had any practice matches. You're rusty. You know, let them have a go on a dodgy wicket. You know, it's not rocket science.
The minute, I agree with you there, Ian. The minute you pick a spinner on a ground which basically is the seam friendly, certainly early on, determine the selections. And then you put Jack Leach in, who you hadn't used at all in the summer in England. You hadn't trusted him, you hadn't put him in, you hadn't tried him out, you hadn't bowled him. And then the minute you make that selection, there isn't room for manoeuvre, and you have to bat first because Leach has got to bowl against them in the fourth innings.
Yeah.
But you've got to have enough runs on the board to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So my view of the game, for what it's worth, it was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
Everything that you could have under your own control, you basically got it wrong, and everything that wasn't in your control went against you. And if you chuck into that, the Aussies played well. They bowled particularly well. It was a perfect storm, and there was no way out. And we maintained our excellent record of recent times at the Gabba.
Gabba.
Wow.
Gabba-doo.
Another wipeout.
Ben Stokes was always going to be a gamble. And to put Ben Stokes in and play Jack Leach as well, without Broad and Anderson, you really do need things to fall in your favour for it to work out.
And it didn't. And the COVID situation and the rain, and you could keep going. It was just inevitable. And
did I hear that awful Stokes was limping in the field or something?
Yeah, he may have to play just as a batsman in the next game, I understand.
Really?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't understand.
Also, I did think England were a little bit unlucky at times when they were in the field. I know they put one or two down.
Yeah.
But on another day, things could have gone differently for them.
Yeah.
One or two run-outs probably ought to have got and didn't.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference.
The wicket.
Why didn't they play? Why didn't they play Johnny Bairstow as well?
Yeah.
You can only open
I
with him.
I didn't see all the scorecard, but the bit I did see, everybody was caught out. Was there anybody bowled out?
Burns.
Wow.
First ball.
First ball. First ball of the series.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But thereafter, I got the impression that they were all caught out in the second inning.
The bounce is too much at the Gabba to be many bowled.
Yeah.
At that level.
I do think playing reverse sweep shots when you
Oh.
battling to save the game is a little bit strange.
Didn't a wicket keeper get a new record for his first test?
Equal it, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I heard that, but could be making it up.
No, I think he equaled it, Keith.
Equal it, yeah.
I
Right.
believe so, yeah.
Right, okay, Dave goes on to say, at least Rory Burns set a new record and equalled an old one. Unfortunately, not ones who will wish to be associated with. So,
You're a lucky man to not get 2 noughts, I'll tell you. Very lucky man.
and
10 years ago, he would have had 2 noughts.
Do you think he's got the temperament for Test match cricket?
He hasn't got the technique for Test match.
The technique, simple as that.
He's
Yeah.
changed his technique. When he was a very, very good player in county cricket,
Yeah.
he didn't do all of that. He didn't have that
Twitching.
stance. No, none of that. And he's a super player. He really is a top player. But he's been got at. His head seems to be scrambled. He's got that many mannerisms now that it's hard to fathom out where he is.
All
And,
these triggers and ticks and twitches. And you think, why are these? Why don't they ever look at film of May and Cowdrey and Hutton? I mean, doesn't it ever occur to them? Well, they don't have to move around like that. They don't have to twitch and have these triggers. They just have a basic stance with a basic posture, which is, stands you for anything. When I play the fiddle, I'm not sort of moving around like that. I keep still. It's
You don't play the fiddle.
Not Nigel
You play the-
Kennedy then.
You don't play the fiddle. You play the violin.
You never heard me, Chris.
Here, get your fiddle out next week, Jonathan. Yeah.
That's right. Yes.
tell you-
No, you know what I mean. That
Yes, I do.
you look at these players, and I go down to Lords and I look at Middlesex players over the years. I look at Owais Shah, who was such a talent, and I look at Sam Robson, and I can see what the problem is. They've got their hip joint mentally halfway up their side. They're not mobile enough to move from the bottom, and they've got all these idiocies that they've been inculcated with by coaches who are being paid to talk this drivel when in order to justify themselves. And they don't. Yeah.
On your violin piece, sorry to interrupt, but you've got me on a high horse, a hobby horse here. I despise Lang Lang because he's all over the place. I play a bit.
Who's that?
Is it Lang Lang?
The pianist.
Oh,
Yeah, the Japanese, Chinese guy, whatever. But he's all over the place. The guy, I got some tuition on piano not so many years ago as a retirement present because I always wanted to take up the piano, and I play a bit of classical music. And I model myself on Vladimir Horowitz.
Yeah.
Stone steady.
Yeah.
And his hands and fingers were wide, and they just up and down the keys. No nonsense, just in the zone, focused and playing and letting the piano do the work,
That's right.
I can't be doing with these history.
But even if you watch somebody like Jacqueline Dupre on film, who
yeah.
moves a lot, she moves within a basic balance and a basic posture.
Yeah.
And it's all the extraneous nonsense you get with sportsmen, with musicians, that is completely erroneous and unnecessary.
Can I just go back to Burns? Not that it was all his fault, but Burns's massive mistake in not fronting up in the second innings will be seen as a huge psychological win for the Australians. If your opening bat after one innings does not take the first ball of the next innings, you've got him already.
Yeah.
And that will probably cost him dearly. It could cost him his Test match career, because the Aussies are brilliant at things like that.
Yeah,
They will just hound that man now.
That-
And he did the wrong thing there. You've got to front up. You've got to take the first ball. You've got to defend it, and then you've got to hit the next one somewhere and get off the mark. That's what you've got to do at that level.
Yeah,
That's why I
Absolutely.
mentioned his temperament. It's what Peter Alice called paralysis by analysis. I think he's been talked out of his own game, judging by
Yeah.
what you said. He doesn't. His mind is totally scrambled. He can't play the simple game of cricket, you know, because he's thinking
Well,
too much.
When England weren't picking him, Ian, when they weren't picking him, his county coach, the great Alex Stewart, was his biggest fan. And he kept saying, this is the best opening bat in England. This is the best opening bat in England. And somehow between that and being selected and now what you see, something's happened.
Yeah.
He is not that player. He is not the same player since he got in the England team.
yeah.
So sad, really.
Just going back, right, just going back to what Ian was saying about his piano playing. Who did you say that you a foreign?
Vladimir
Anthony
Horowitz.
Horowitz.
Vladimir Horowitz was
I thought he said Liberace.
he was hang on. He was
It's just a pity. He sounds like Les Dawson.
well,
I thought
actually,
Ian had
Les,
modelled himself on Vladimir Putin.
yeah.
Right.
Les
I
Dawson.
think Ian's trying to justify himself here.
Bloody hell! I think I'll mute me with you. I'm getting really pissed off with this. I don't know what's happened to my mic today. I just can't get in.
Oh, dear.
Right, come on, back to
I'm
Rory
interested
Burns.
in.
Come on, back to Rory Burns. What was the record he set?
Is this the Rory Burns show?
No, anybody know?
George Burns and Gracie Allen.
There's only two people.
Say goodnight,
that have beat out
George.
first ball of the
He
series
said- he
before.
said-
That's right, Keith. That's right, Keith. Keith's right with one of them. What Keith just said is right.
He set a
Jackson.
test record for the most dismissals for a duck in a calendar year.
All right.
Really?
First ball, making it 6 ducks in a calendar year.
And they're
Any-
still picking him.
The two previous record holders with 5 ducks in a calendar year. One of them's Indian
Gatting.
and one of them's English.
Johnny Bairstow?
No,
No.
Graham Gooch.
Lancastrian.
Mike Atherton.
Mike Atherton is the Englishman in 1998. And the India one is Pankaj Roy in
Oh,
1950.
in the early 60s, yeah.
Burns is now the joint record holder for being out on the very first delivery of an Ashes series. And who is the other batsman?
Was his name Freeman in 19? Yeah.
It's in 1936.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bradman.
It was Stan Worthington.
Worthington, yeah, yeah.
Original.
And the bowler was Ernie McCormick. To rub salt into their wounds, England were fined. Crikey, we were only on first one. To rub salt into their wounds, England were fined for their entire match fee of 137,500 for slow over rates and docked 5 points in the World Test Championship.
What?
5
They were
overs.
fined the full 130,000 pound of the match fee, the entire match fee.
Yeah,
Yes, they were. Yeah.
Are these new rules?
yeah.
Aussie rules.
Are these?
Are they going to retrospectively apply these rules to the West Indies?
Well, no, because we were fined when we played against India as well, apparently, in the summer.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, over rates have been terrible.
It's the 5 world test points that they're more concerned about, because they lost some again in the summer for something else, and I can't remember what it was.
I think it was the same thing, Paul. I think it was
it?
slow.
And there were 5 They were 5 overs behind the required over 8 when all allowances were considered. So
They appealed
Well,
against it. One of
Have you
the
got enough punishment when you got thrashed?
one of the basis for the appeal was that it took a long time to get the ball back because Jack Leach kept getting hit for 6.
Fair comment.
Did the Aussies get any points taken off them when they cheated?
what do you mean?
Which time?
No, it's probably the World Championship might not have been instigated at the time
No.
they cheated.
No. Anyway, if one defeat wasn't bad enough,
Okay.
the A team was soundly beaten by Australia A as well. So.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on to a less contentious subject, Formula One. Now, earlier on, John mentioned that me and him had a discussion about next goal wins. Because I likened this Formula One race to, when you were school kids or playing just in the street, you could win 6-0, but it was time to go. So it was always next goal's winner.
Yeah.
And this race was just like that.
Yeah.
Somebody's winning 6-0, but then they've declared that the next one wins. It was ridiculous.
There's a round robin email going around to that effect, Keith, as well.
Is there?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got it exactly right there, mate. It's exactly like that.
Don't they real? I mean, all right, they're probably saying 4. Look at all this discussion about Formula One, but it's the wrong kind
So
of
negative. Yeah.
Keith, you've got a connection between your last 2 topics, and it's called fines. This director of racing made a mistake at the last race, and which turned it into a pantomime, and everybody was terribly excited by that.
Oh no, it wasn't.
And it was behind. and then they've got this fiasco. That man should be at the very least fined, regardless of whether Verstappen keeps his championship or not, because that was just an abuse of the rules, total misinterpretation of the rules. And you can't have somebody in charge of a sport making fundamental errors like that. Stupid.
What would be better than after a season of competitive racing, the 2 gunslingers have 1 lap to sort it out? What could be better for the viewers in the sport? What a load of drivel.
Absolutely.
What about some justice and fair play? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cost to the firms, and I don't mean Mercedes, I mean all the support infrastructure and the rest of it. People whose livelihoods depend on the success of the teams that they've supported. It's plain wrong, but we see it too much in sport now. I mean, we've had a week of it.
I want to know who paid that driver to crash. Because that was the only way that Verstappen could win that race, was if the safety car came out.
Yeah.
Well,
it
not
couldn't happen, even if it had been the virtual.
Why didn't Bottas crash? Thinking about it afterwards.
That crash didn't cause it, Keith, with all due respect. It created the opportunity for somebody to make a cock up, and he seized it.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's still, if that hadn't have happened, the race would have been won by Hamilton.
Yeah, he'd gone down from 14 to 11 seconds, and he was coming back up again because he'd gone through the back of the pack, and Verstappen was going to have to negotiate. So he would have won it with an increased distance, if you see what I mean, with time. It's corrupt. It really is. I love the sport.
I agree entirely.
Just a corrupt ending to a perfect competition.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a sport? It seems to me that there's only 2 drivers that can actually win the championship. There's only 2 cars in it, or 4 cars in a race. 2 of the drivers are inferior to the other 2. And the other 16 or so are just there to make the numbers up, aren't they?
Well, you could say that about the Premier League, to be honest, Trevor. The fact is,
There's only about 3 teams
it's not
can win
just
that,
2
yeah.
drivers, it's 2 complete teams and infrastructure. The design team, I mean, the technology they develop, they are, Mercedes and Red Bull are, I've got to say, the Liverpool, Manchester City of the Premier League. They have the infrastructure, they have the best designers, they're the best leaders, the best drivers, the best everything. They have the money, okay? And the others have to fight for their place. Well, Red Bull came from nowhere to get to where they are today. And there's a chance, you know, Leicester will do the same, what have you. But it's not just about 2 drivers. If you look at the qualifying rounds and the rest of it, the technology, if you listen to the dialogue, you know, like, come on, Lewis, box, box, box. He doesn't want to, but there's so much instrumentation that's in that car that's being monitored off the track, that there's a lot of management of the race by Mercedes off the track, as it were, in the pits, as much as the cleverness and the talent of the driver themselves. I think it's a fascinating, for an engineer as I was, a fascinating sport. And I think it's like football. You've got those, the haves and the haves not, those that have got the best designers and the rest of it, they're actually rise to the top. And that's the way of it. But to have some plonker, some dipstick, make the decision he made in that final race, you know,
all right, Ian, rant over.
I'm
Thank
going,
you, Ian.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm off.
Personally, in my opinion, it's not a sport, it's a pastime, but